Hey guys, today I am reacting to British vs American public parks. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel before we get started, that would really help out. Now this video should be interesting. I'd imagine American public parks would be a lot bigger, more numerous, I'd imagine though British parks would be pretty awesome. Maybe they'd be like established, I guess determined as a national park by the government, like way before. Maybe I'd imagine that many of these British parks would be like established as national parks, or like parks way before American ones were. Just because Britain, like as a country, is old. Not to say that Americans wouldn't have old public parks. Of course we do. They just might not have been established as parks, but the nature and such was there before, of course. Anyway, let's get into the video. Should be pretty interesting. Yeah, let's get started. Scenery and the music, they get it. It's nice. His expression.
Hello, I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about the vast differences between
This is not case.
Britain and America. But in some cases, at first glance, it's often hard to tell those differences. Take, for example, municipal parks. Over the years, while living in both Britain and America, I'd love nothing more than to go for a nice stroll in the park with my camera. Not in a creepy way, just in a way to film nature all about you. And I wanted to make a video today along the lines of Britain's municipal parks ain't got nothing on America, but A, that's a bit of a mouthful, and B, it's not really true. Because towns and cities in both countries have green spaces designed for the outdoor wellness of humans, children and dogs. And how much is there really to say about the differences between municipal parks in Britain and America? Well, firstly, let's start with that name. They are known here in the United States as municipal parks. In Britain, their official name is public parks. Now, don't get me wrong, that's just a technicality. Parks such as Lincoln Park, where I am right now, are very much open to the public and YouTube sensations. But another big thing that's always stood out to me since moving to the United States, and something that is backed up by a study, is that public parks in Britain tend to get more visitors. Now, the same study that I read seemed to suggest that this was due in part to Britain's greater affinity with the outdoors. And while the mainstream popularity of shows like Countryfile do suggest that this might indeed be the case, I suspect, without going too high-pitched, that there's another contributing factor here: population density. With around 70 million people packed into an island the size of Wyoming, it's hardly surprising that more of them will congregate at the park for a quick natter. But that's not to say that Americans don't themselves get out once in a while, as evidenced by the migratory swarm of people here at Lincoln Park on a gloomy day.
I think it also depends on the park and the area, the state, all these factors matter. Like Central Park, this Lincoln Park. Parks in cities, I'd imagine, a lot more. Such.
Now, to be fair, this is Lincoln Park, one of the larger municipal parks in the country. But even in less populated areas of both countries, you'll still find people at the park. Right, these places are communal areas and offer a deep sense of serenity at the end of a hard day's graft, so long as people have cleaned up the dog shit. Arguably, though, the biggest difference between British and American public parks is Mother Nature herself, and by that I mean the plants and the animals. This difference might have been seen a bit more keenly over 100 years ago, before the American grey squirrel was introduced to the United Kingdom, whereupon it became an invasive species and forced out the poor red squirrels to Scotland. Then again, perhaps this was a form of retribution. In 1890, the European starling, a common bird in Britain, was introduced to Central Park in New York City by the president of the American Acclimatization Society, because the rumour...
Also mice, rats.
Goes that he wanted to introduce to North America every bird species mentioned by Shakespeare. Anyway, their population eventually swelled from the original 60 birds to 150 million. And depending on whereabouts in each country you are situated, you might well encounter completely different avian friends, that's birds. A fine example from right here in Chicago, and indeed throughout much of the United States, is a bird that I've spoken about before, the American robin. They do say the early bird catches the worm, but I filmed this maniac at 6:03 p.m. Naturally, given its name, the American robin does not exist in the UK, though we do have an unrelated bird named the European robin, after which the American robin was named. And of course, America, being the large country that it is, boasts a significant diversity of birds. And so it's going to depend on which part of the country you are as to which one you will encounter. In Britain, you're largely talking things like crows, magpies, and wood pigeons, who do this a lot.
And can I just compliment this, like, how good, like, the quality is? Just amazing.
By no means something you'll find everywhere, but here in Lincoln Park, one of the main attractions, just as it is at Regent's Park in London, is the integration of a zoo. And thankfully for people, families, and again, YouTube sensations, this one is completely free. And I like to think in my heart of hearts, I made friends with that zebra/zebra, even if that friendship wasn't mutual, because he seemed more interested in gobbling up his dinner. I've seen a lot of those videos, you know, out in the country where people speak with a soft voice and they beautifully show you all of their surroundings and what they're doing. And I feel like I should do something like that to close out this video. So here goes. We as a people must work hard to preserve our parks and green spaces, if for no other reason than to give me peace, tranquility, and a reason to get off my PlayStation 4 as advised by my doctor. Nature is deep inside all of us, quite literally, because earlier I did get a splinter from a tree. And so, wherever I travel across this vast country, or the much smaller one to the east, I vow to enjoy these parks and to bare my soul so long as there's a no-shoes policy. And I will always do so fully cognizant of the fact that this is our world. And I'll never be afraid to remind you of that fact by posting inspirational quotes by Teddy Roosevelt on Twitter. Thank you for watching. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that my videos...
Yeah, be sure to check out the description. I'll link the video in the description box below. Make sure to check it out if you want to. And yeah, if you liked my reaction, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Really helps out. And comment down below with your thoughts. Like, what's your favorite park, a national park, or just any park, you know? What's your favorite park? I mean, I really love Central Park. I visited, I think I visited Lincoln Park maybe in the past. Not sure though. There's parks I do want to visit. I want to visit Yosemite, Yellowstone, but yeah. Comment down below what's your favorite park.
Don't get lost in the pond. A Lincoln Park size shout out to my patrons who make
Lincoln Park, also the band.
These videos. If you until the next video, goodbye. Well, I am currently pretending to be on the phone because there are some people watching me. I've got an audience. Yeah, that's the hard thing about filming outside. Yeah, I'm not going to show them because A, I'd then have to get them to sign a non-disclosure form, and B, I just don't want to draw attention to people who are ruining my... Oh, they've gone. oh, they were watching the boats. It wasn't me. Yep. Alright, bye. I've just realised you're not there. This is made up. Alright.
Loved it. That was awesome, honestly. Very much enjoyed it. Let's check out some of the comments. Another reason Americans visit public parks less often than the UK people. We have larger yards and more nature in our backyard as well. Yeah, most of you do shite all with them. They mostly just sit there, get water to get mowed, but that's pretty much it. And if you do sit out, you're probably on your porch, not your lawn. All of my neighbors have flower and vegetable gardens. We have okra, lemongrass, mint, oranges, apples, squash, pineapple, tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, etc. We also have a community garden. Hey, Dissonance, you're a tool. Shut up. How on earth would you know what Americans do in their yards? I moved to America a while back, and I guess I'm more bored by the lack of things people seem to do in the neighborhood that I live in. Granted, there's a community garden nearby, so I suppose somewhat full of shite myself. If you live in the suburbs, though, some suburbs may be boring, some may be more interesting. I think city life and just like more mixed-use development is a good idea, because those parks are oftentimes more visited too. You're either a troll or ignorant. Most Americans love their yards and use them all the time, from gardening to playing on the lawn. I mean, I guess that is somewhat true, but also, I think a lawn is not the most useful of things, Try to get more space, like for a house and building and such. But it is kind of like this dream of like to have a front yard and all that. It's like such a big part of American culture. Personally, though, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. I'd rather have more space, go to parks, more walkability, go to like local restaurants instead of having to drive everywhere. You can just walk to places. It's nice. We call them public parks everywhere I've lived in the U.S. Or city park. Too many cities, too many syllables in municipal. Same here. I live in the city that he's filming in, Chicago, and we call them public parks here as well. I've never heard of them as municipal parks. Municipal park is probably just a formal term. America also has a layer of parks that I'm not sure are replicated in Great Britain. State parks. They fall in between municipal/city parks and national parks, and can be as intimate as the former or as grand as the latter. True. For state parks, it depends on the state. Larger and less populated states can have some large ones. Even very populated states can have large ones. I'm in the 10th largest and 12th least densely populated state. So yeah, my perspective is skewed. Fun fact, the largest state park is in New York and is bigger than most of America's national parks. Awesome. That is very cool. I'm glad you all have a big one up in New England. Many people forget how large upstate New York is. That's true. Many people do. I mean, at the end of the day, upstate New York is pretty big, and a lot of other areas are gigantic. When you don't think about it, a lot of people, when they think of New York, they only think of the city. Yeah, that is true. I don't know if you in the South have too many like big national parks either. I mean, you guys have a lot of nature, but I don't know if too many national parks. It seems more of like a Western thing, I guess. Like more national parks at least, not just bigger ones, but yeah. The most sparsely populated areas are dominated by national parks. The states more in the middle are most in need of state parks. That is Adirondack State Park, yeah. Americans visiting parks less really depends on where you are. People love the nature up here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'd be more than willing to bet that parks get a lot more use here than in the UK. This comment caught my attention too. Lawrence seems to be a research kinda guy, so I went looking for research that summarizes Brits use their parks more. I only found one. Of course, I don't know if there are more or if this is the one Lawrence referenced. The research was done by Playground Equipment Company. They compared the parks of LA, San Fran, and NYC to London. I agree with their summary as to why their city playgrounds are more heavily used than ours. All parks are public by definition. That's why we just call it the park, unless you're calling it by its proper name. Nobody says, let's go to the public/municipal park. I have lived in the Midwest, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic regions of the United States, and I don't think I have ever heard someone describe a public park as municipal. Ha ha ha. Yes, you're an American now. You upload in the middle of the night. Man. Man, this was pretty good though. I really enjoyed this video. It was amazing. Like, the quality was really good. If you enjoyed my reaction, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.